If you're trying to figure out how to eat well and save money, you've come to the right place. I'm Christy and I'm going to share my shopping list and recipes with you. This is enough to feed up to 2 people for under $25 a week. It's taco week at my house and I'm excited, so let's go. For my $25 shopping budget, I decided to go to Grocery Outlet. So I pull up my handy dandy shopping list. Here the bananas are 3 for $1 and I'm going to grab 5 just for me. Next on the list is kale, and a bag of washed and chopped kale here is $2.99. You can also just buy a bunch if that's what's easier for you or if that's what's available. Quick tip for when you're buying a package of greens like this, or really anything that you get from the store, go ahead and check the expiration date. A lot of times there's a fresher option available. Obviously we're going to get the fresher one. Next we're getting carrots. This whole bag is only $1.19. It's not organic, but it's cheap and it's available and it's gonna last us well over a week. Here I'm getting cilantro for 59 cents a bunch. I'm gonna put these on my tacos to make them delicious. We also need a pepper to flavor the black beans. The red pepper and yellow pepper, as you can see, are $1.50 each. So we're gonna go ahead and pick out a nice green bell pepper for just 79 cents. This is gonna make our black beans delicious. And if you don't have bell pepper available, or if it's too expensive, you can substitute a can of diced green chilies instead. The cabbage here is $1.69 for a head of cabbage. Quick tip, go ahead and look at the bottom. You want it to look clean with no discoloration. This one, for example, is a little bit brown on the bottom and it's actually splitting down the middle. So that could be an opportunity for bacteria or pests to get in there. Next, we're gonna get some loose onions. Here they're 59 cents each, and there's actually not a very good selection available today, but we're gonna make do with what we have. If you have more money in your budget, I think it's worth it to go ahead and just buy a bulk bag of onions. Today I found a couple of pretty good ones, so we're gonna get these 2. They are going to flavor our food and just make it really delicious. Okay, potatoes. Russet potatoes are 69 cents each. They're not the most flavorful potatoes in the world, but they're available and they're cheap. Grab a couple of these suckers. And again, if you have money for it, you can buy a bag of potatoes, maybe a different variety. Now we're gonna get some cumin. We want cumin to make the black beans amazing. Sometimes you can find cheaper alternatives in the Latin American food section or international section of the grocery store. I almost forgot to get garlic. Don't forget garlic. We are moving on to the beans. Grab a bag of dry black beans. Here it's just 99 cents, and these beans are gonna go a really, really long way. I also wanna get beans for my salad, and I highly recommend giving yourself some variety with a white bean like a lima bean or a navy bean, or these Peruvian beans that I just saw called mayacoba beans. You could also use red beans like kidney beans. So I'm gonna go for the good old-fashioned red beans. They're gonna add color to my salad, and the protein is gonna make it so much more tasty and filling. Here we've got a good selection of tortillas, but I can't find the tortillas that I like. There are so many varieties, and right now we are going for flavor and price. There's a pack of white corn tortillas here, 30 count for $1.69, but I'm being a bit of a snob and I really want the yellow corn tortillas. We're trying to balance eating cheaply with eating in a way that is satisfying, such that we're not gonna notice how little we actually spent on the food. So I'm giving myself permission here to go for the slightly more expensive option, just because I know these yellow corn tortillas are gonna make me so much happier than the white corn tortillas. Next, we are on to the eggs. There's a good variety of eggs, and here I found a dozen eggs for $1.99. Looks good to me, so we're gonna go ahead and grab a dozen of these and stick them in the cart. My last stop is something that's very important to me, but it's not something that you have to do. I like to drink coffee in the morning, so I want some type of creamer for my coffee, but I also want sour cream for my tacos. So instead of buying sour cream and creamer separately, I'm just going to buy a quart of heavy cream, and I'm gonna use that to put some in my coffee And I'm also gonna share a really, really easy and delicious recipe for making homemade sour cream that I think you're gonna love. Finally, before I check out, you may notice that I have all of my $25 groceries over here on one side of the cart, but then over here on the other side of the cart, I have a few more things. These are some groceries specifically for my partner, and I bring this up to be realistic. Sometimes when you're trying to save money or you're trying to make changes in your behavior, the people in your family are not gonna be on the same page as you. But don't get discouraged, because when you start to make changes, you will begin to influence the other people around you. It just takes time. I've noticed, for example, that as I've been doing this $25 a week grocery budget for me, my partner is eating more and more of the delicious and inexpensive food that I am preparing. And that's helping to cut down on our grocery budget, and it's encouraging him to start thinking more critically about how he spends money on food. And really, these groceries, it's enough groceries for 2 people. The beans, the kale, all of this stuff, it's really gonna be enough for 2 people to eat in 1 week. Or if you're one person, it might be enough for you to eat over 2 weeks. So this is my receipt. As you can see, I spent $23.92 on this whole shopping list. The most expensive thing that I bought was the heavy cream. Let me go ahead and show you all the recipes and how I'm preparing this food to make it really, really delicious and satisfying. Let's start with our sour cream. It's going to be the easiest thing you've ever made, and it's really delicious. Go ahead and get a clean jar or container and make sure you have a lid for that container. We're gonna grab our cream. We're also gonna need 2 teaspoons of vinegar and just a clean napkin or paper towel. Go ahead and pour 1 cup of cream into your clean jar or container. Then we'll add 2 teaspoons of vinegar. If you don't have vinegar, you can use lemon juice. I don't recommend using any type of vinegar other than a white vinegar or just some kind of flavorless vinegar. Screw your top on and shake it up. Shake, 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 shake. Shake that cream. Shake that cream. Shake, shake, shake. Okay. You're really just mixing in the vinegar so it's evenly distributed. Take the lid off. I like to scrape off the little extra cream that's stuck to the top. We don't actually need this whole napkin to cover the top of our jar while it processes. So I'm gonna just tear it in half and use the extra half to clean off around the rim. I don't want anything funky to be able to get into the cream. So go ahead and clean that off, then gently place your napkin on top. And because I have this kind of mason jar lid, I'm gonna just screw it on. But if you don't have a lid like this, you can use a rubber band or a hair tie. And that's it. Set it to the side in a safe place where it won't be disturbed for 12 to 24 hours. Then when you come back the next day and you open up your beautiful sour cream, it's gonna look something like this. Go ahead and give it a nice stir, and you can see how thick and delicious it is. Because this cream doesn't have any stabilizers or like additives in it, when you refrigerate it and if you leave it sitting in your refrigerator for a few days, you might need to go back in and stir it. It might start to separate a little bit. So we're gonna place the top on that and just set it in the refrigerator, and it'll be good in the refrigerator for up to 7 days. Now I'm gonna show you how I make tacos, and I really think you're gonna love my mom's black bean recipe. So we'll start off just by getting a pot. I usually set it in my sink to make it easy. And we're gonna use about a cup of dry black beans. This is about half the bag, and you can just save the other half of the bag and set it aside to use later this week or another time. I see a few deformed or dirty looking black beans, so I'm gonna just pick those out of there. Now we fill the pot with water until there's about 1 inch of water covering the black beans. I like to stir it around and play in the water, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Add salt, about a teaspoon will do. Then we're gonna stick it on medium-high heat. Go ahead and put the lid on it, and we want it to get to a boiling point. Once it starts to boil, it might take 10 or 15 minutes on a really nice hard boil like this. Go ahead and set a timer for about 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna let it boil for that period of time and then turn off the pot and let it soak. So I've let these beans soak until they were just slightly warm, and now I'm gonna rinse them off. By rinsing them off, we'll get any dirt out of there. I also think this helps them to stay fresh longer, and there's less like gassy bean gassiness. I don't know what you call that, but they might produce less bacteria that make gassy stuff in your stomach. Okay, moving on. Now we're gonna chop up this onion. We're gonna chop up some veggies to flavor our black beans. So go ahead and peel the onion. If I had a bigger onion, I would just use half the onion, but because this is a small onion, I'm gonna use the whole thing. I like to chop it up pretty small, so all the flavor will disperse throughout the black beans and I won't have really big chunks of onions. Voila! I have some relatively finely chopped onion. Now I'm going to use green pepper. Because I have this little old one that I need to use up, I'm going to just add that in there. But normally I would just use half of a large bell pepper or one small bell pepper. So I'm going to cut this in half and show you, in case you haven't cleaned a bell pepper before. Go ahead and just yank out the middle part. Boom. We're going to throw that away. Any extra seeds, you can grab them or you can kind of knock it against your hand to shake them loose. And we have a lovely green bell pepper to use. The other half, I'm going to save it to make more black beans later this week. Go ahead and chop these up real nice. Again, I'm going to chop these kind of fine because I don't want to have really big chunks of bell peppers in my nice, smooth, creamy black beans. Last but not least, we're going to get some garlic. Go ahead and peel off those outside layers, and I'm going to use about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic depending on how big they are. I think once it's chopped up, it adds up to about a tablespoon of garlic. To make the garlic easy to peel, I always like to do this, where I just set the garlic down, put my knife horizontal to the countertop, and I lean and press into the garlic until it pops. And it makes it so much easier to get the papery outside off of the garlic. Next, I'm cutting off these little nubs. I don't know if you really have to do this, but they're kind of woody sometimes, so I cut off the little nub that connects them to the garlic bulb. Go ahead and chop this up really fine because we want them to flavor our black beans really nicely. And boom, now we have our chopped garlic, onion, and green pepper ready for our black beans. I'm gonna take a nice big glob of oil here. You can use whatever kind of oil you want. I like using coconut oil for this. I've got about 2 tablespoons of oil in there, heat them up really well. And now I'm gonna add all of my veggies and chopped garlic into this frying pan. I don't know why I was using my hand. It's so much easier just to scrape them off the cutting board with a knife. I'm gonna just give these a quick stir to coat them in the oil really well. And I'm gonna let them just sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes, stirring them every now and then until they get kind of golden brown. Look at how lovely this is. That golden brown color is gonna help bring out the flavor and flavor our black beans. Hey look, we have some jalapenos from our garden. I'm gonna chop these up and put them in there. Obviously something optional, but if you like spice and you have some jalapenos available, go for it. Now that my magic trio of onion, bell pepper, and garlic is a nice golden brown, I'm gonna go ahead and put in another big glob of oil. I think that's about 2 tablespoons. And I'm gonna add my black beans to the mix. We also wanna add several cups of liquid. You can use broth or you can use water, depending on what you have available. Go ahead and stir it around. Now we're gonna add some seasoning. We'll add salt. Then I'm gonna add my cumin. Because I have an old shaker of cumin, I just keep refilling it with the packages I get like this. I love cumin. I think it adds a lot of flavor, so I'm gonna add at least a couple teaspoons of this. Here you can also add crushed red chili if you like spicy things. Then we'll give it all a good stir. Then we'll put the lid on and allow it to cook like this for about 20 minutes until it's at a nice simmer. Now I'm coming back in to check on my black beans and I can see that I haven't added enough liquid. So I'm gonna add about another cup of water, and then I'm gonna come in here with my fork and start to kind of mush up the black beans a little bit. When I was a kid, my mom had a potato masher and she would do this with her potato masher. But I'm a bit of a kitchen minimalist, so I'm just gonna use my fork and it works fine. It might just take a little longer. Now I'm gonna show you my secret weapon, Bragg's liquid aminos. I add a few splashes of this, but you could also use soy sauce instead. I'm gonna continue to mix up my black beans, mush them up a little bit. This will really help them soak in the water and the flavor and be really smooth and rich and delicious. While the beans simmer, I'm going to work on a delicious and fresh topping for my tacos. I'm going to take half of my cabbage and shave it up. I'll stick it aside in a storage container so it's easy to access throughout the week for making tacos. Then I've got my cilantro already washed, and I'm gonna go ahead and just pick the leaves off the stems. I'm putting them on the napkin here because I don't have a more sophisticated way of drying them, but this works fine. I just pile them on a napkin, and when I'm done, I gently roll up the napkin and kind of tap the cilantro leaves dry. Now I have a nice full container of delicious greens I can put on top of my tacos. My black beans are cooked and cooled, and I'm ready to put them in a storage container. I'm using this quart-sized jar because it's convenient for me, and I also want to show you how just half that bag of black beans makes a full quart of beans to eat all week long. So now we're almost ready to build our tacos. We've got our black beans, our shaved cabbage and cilantro, and our delicious sour cream. But wait, we're forgetting one thing, the tortilla. I like to heat my tortillas on a frying pan with just a small amount of oil. This makes the tortillas extremely delicious. It's a million times better than microwaving them. I highly recommend just tossing your tortillas on a frying pan for a minute on each side. Now we just take a couple spoonfuls of our black beans, place it on the tortilla. Then of course we're gonna get some cabbage and some cilantro, and a nice dollop of sour cream to finish it off. Of course, if you have other goodies, you're more than welcome to add those to the tacos. 2 or 3 of these for dinner and my belly will be full and satisfied. Now it's time for our veggie slaw. Get yourself a nice big bowl to store your salad in. Now we're gonna take our kale, our cabbage, and a few carrots. I'm gonna take several handfuls of kale, and even though it's chopped, I'm gonna go ahead and chop it up more. I'm also gonna remove any big stems or junk that I find in the leaves. We'll go ahead and stick all this in our bowl and set it to the side while we prepare our cabbage. I pull off a few of the outside leaves. A lot of times they are damaged or have some bugs and dirt in them. Go ahead and give it a nice rinse. I'm gonna cut the cabbage in half. We're gonna use half of it for the salad and the other half for our tacos. I cut the core out of the middle of the cabbage to make it easier to slice. Now we just go to town chopping this baby up. Add the cabbage to the bowl with your kale, and now we'll get started on the carrots. Of course, we're gonna go ahead and peel the carrots. Now take a grater or food processor and grate your carrots. With this part done, we have our salad base completed. This kale, cabbage, and carrot mixture is going to make a really nice base for our veggie slaw. Get in there, have some fun, and mix all this up. To add some texture to our veggie slaw and make it a bit more hefty, I'm going to roast a couple potatoes with some onion. Of course, you want to wash them really well and then cut out any spots where you find dirt or sometimes in the eye of the potato where little things will be hiding. I still remember my friend and neighbor, Bimala, from Bimala's Curry Blossom Kitchen in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, teaching me about cleaning potatoes. I was cleaning potatoes with her and being a little careless about it, and she taught me, Christy, a lot of times dirt and bacteria will hide in those little spots, so you have to take care to clean out all of the little nasty things, because if not, your food will taste like dirt. Thank you, Vimala, for teaching me a valuable lesson and some wonderful cooking skills. Now we're just gonna slice these babies up. I'll stick these on my baking sheet. You don't have to use parchment paper like I am, but my baking sheet is just really old and nasty, so I'm using parchment paper. Go ahead and stick them on your baking sheet, and then we're gonna slice up some onion to add extra flavor. Add the onion to the baking sheet with the potatoes, and then we're gonna put some oil on the potatoes. It doesn't really matter if it's olive oil, coconut oil, or something else. Also add salt and pepper, and then we're gonna mix it all together. Bake these in the oven at 425 for 25 to 30 minutes or until golden brown. Now to add protein and color to our salad, we're gonna take a cup of our dry red beans and start to prepare them the way we did our black beans. Cover them with an inch of water, add salt, and put them on medium-high heat. After they've come to a hard boil and you've soaked them, we're gonna rinse them off. Then we're gonna repeat the process. Stick them back in the pot, cover them with more water, more salt, and put them on the stove again. You can see that they're not quite soft yet and they still need more cooking. But it won't be long until they're done, maybe just 15 or 20 minutes and some time to soak. And then you have all the ingredients for your healthy and delicious veggie slaw. These will store easily in your refrigerator, and when you're ready to make your salad, you can just grab a few handfuls of your salad mixture, a few spoonfuls of these amazing red beans, and some potatoes. Now all that you're missing is a salad dressing of your choice or some simple oil and vinegar. I always like to put salt and pepper on my salad. This salad is really healthy and satisfying. It's going to keep well in the refrigerator, and you have more than enough ingredients to last you all week. Last but not least, it's time for breakfast. Go ahead and heat up your tortilla in your frying pan. and make your egg however you like. I obviously use way too much oil, and I typically like to make a scrambled egg or over easy. When you're ready, place your egg on top of your tortilla. If you like, you can add cabbage, cilantro, or other toppings, and of course, a nice dollop of your homemade sour cream. Bam! Delicious! 1 or 2 of these tacos and you will have eaten a filling, healthy, and cheap breakfast. Finally, I'm not going to forget my coffee. Quick note, the only things that I used in my cooking that were not on my original shopping list were oil, vinegar, Bragg's liquid aminos, salt and pepper, some supplements that I take, and of course, coffee. I live in Oakland, California, which is one of the most expensive areas in the United States. So I'm confident that if I can do it for under $25, surely you can in whatever neighborhood you live in. You probably just can't go to Whole Foods or the most expensive grocery store in your area. Cheers for now, and happy cooking.